I don't know what the best way to start this video is. So I'm just going to start it with a little bit of a rant. I think that's fair. I know there's a lot of people share similar feelings toward this. So let's say this is you. Now you live in Australia or America or Canada or the UK, perhaps around London. But in this particular scenario, you live in Australia. Just suspend the disbelief, right? You know, you're down under in Australia and you don't just fall off the earth because we're upside down, all that jazz. Now you're the median, you're a pretty average and normal Australian, right? You're in the middle, you earn about $75,000 a year. Not doing too bad for yourself. As the end of the financial year rolls around, you have to pay your taxes. You pay about 16 grand worth of taxes. Right, $16,000. You also spend about $40,000 a year just to live, right? Food, rent, etc., etc. Now, a dream of yours, I know I'm really just telling you what you want, right? No freedom here. But stick with me for a little bit longer. A dream of yours is to buy a house. Right? Only problem is, as an Australian citizen, you want to buy a house in Australia, and the average cost of a house in Australia is $950,000, roughly. You know, but that's roughly in the middle. If you want a half decent property, something that's not a little apartment or run down, it's going to cost you about $1 million. So if we do some quick maths, assuming that there is no inflation or that you don't get a loan and there's zero interest on all the money you put towards it, for the record, at the end of this, you have about $19,000 a year to spend, right? That's what's left over. So at this rate, it's going to, assuming, let's say you're 20 years old, make the maths really easy, it's going to take you to afford a house, and assuming you start earning at 20, right, it's going to take you, at minimum, with no inflation, no interest on any loans, until you're 70 years old. Think about that for a minute. The best years of your life wasted, thrown down the drain, just because you want to save money to afford a house. Fucked isn't even the right level of word, right? There's not a word strong enough to say how messed up that is, that you have to throw away your life just to own a home. The reason I rant about this so much is because I want to bring your direction eventually toward the fact that this YouTube channel is about how you can build a tribe, right? One where you can wake up and your neighbors and your friends are the same thing, you know? You wake up, you look out the window and you see your best friend in the house next to you. Down the street is like your favorite family member. So we're talking multiple houses, and that is not at all cheap. That is not feasible for most people, especially in developed countries where housing is becoming really, really expensive. So I want to take a step back for a minute and get you to think about the fact that this isn't entirely a rant video. I want to help you. And as a YouTube channel, I don't want to teach you any get-rich-quick schemes, because they're either really risky or they're just a load of bullshit, right? They're clickbait. You're not going to get anything useful out of it. But there is still a few things I can do to help. Number one is teach you framework, basic business, stuff you can apply to anything you're passionate about. Because I do not want you working a job or doing work that you absolutely hate in order to earn money to save up for something like this. So I'm going to teach you a general framework. I can't take all the credit myself. It is, I have to credit a certain author and businessman a lot, and I will do that in the video when I talk about it. It's a general framework. He has books. They're very cheap. They're very easy to read, big font, lots of pictures, and quite simple language. And I think that's one way I can do help. Second is look at other options. You know, when you're building a tribe or a community, you don't just have to buy a massive block of land and then start building houses on it like it's Monopoly. Okay, there's other ways around this than going full out straight away. And some of them are kind of obvious, some of them aren't so obvious and just sort of present themselves sort of out of the blue, and they can come out of left corner. And I want to make sure that you're aware of all these potential options if you do want to build a tribe like this. Option 3 is other places you can find money. I want to make a video, and these are all hopefully happening in the near future, that teaches you other ways you can source money other than earning it yourself. Because a community, is a community effort, and I hope that's obvious. But yet again, you don't just want to go out and start asking people for money, because that is not going to get you anywhere. So I want to make a video that talks about other places you can source money and how you might go about that. It's a little bit of a tricky and touchy endeavor. Yet again, this isn't a finance channel. I'm not here to teach you about business and money, but I do have to teach you how that is involved with building a community. This is also quite a short video. That is everything I wanted to cover. If any of this sounds interesting to you, or anything else you want to know about building a tribe or managing or running, or anything to do with building a community of people, like close friends that you have, and forming that support network, please ask me about it. I will be your personal assistant. I will research this thing, compile it, break it down into easy to understand words, videos, pictures, and teach you about it for free. So if you really want to keep up to date with this, subscribe, hit the notifications. It sounds really silly. I've never ever, once in my life, hit that notification button, as people say. There's my little bell. Never hit the notifications button in my life, so I'm a bit hypocritical to ask you to do it, but if it interests you, keep your finger on the pulse, right? Follow the YouTube channel, even just check in once and again, see how things are going. If there's anything that interests you, leave a comment. I will read it, I promise. And with that, that is everything I wanted to cover, so thank you for listening. Oh, and one more thing, actually. If you've made it to the end, congratulations. This isn't a very long video, but people's attention spans are kind of cooked. So if you've made it this far, you're doing a lot better than most people. So just, some words of support. All right, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.